We first started off with the blooms, how we mentally hold. And then last week, we went into the stems, how we physically hold. And now we're going into the roots, how we emotionally hold. So check out those reflection questions. And whether you were here for the practice that we did at the time, whether you listened to it on Spotify and did it or not, if you, during the course of the week, have been paying attention to how you hold on to what you want to let go, feel into those questions, and then put some of your answers over into the chat. If you wanna put words to your answer, to your response of what shows up for you, then you go ahead and put your hand up, and we'll call you out in order, and then we'll get into our little practice, or at least setting up the practice and then getting into the practice for this week, the roots.
The roots.
So how about you, Czar? How was your week of feeling into your stems, how you move toward, whether you look toward, call toward, reach toward, or it was like look toward, move toward, reach toward.
I'm gonna start at that bottom, where in your body did you notice that you're moving towards. I'm starting there only because that's the part that I think I struggle with, is finding what I'm feeling, sensing, whatever, in the somatic aspect to a lot of things. Now, generally speaking, I feel things, generally speaking, I generally feel things in my gut area. For the most part, even heartbreak, for some reason, I generally kind of feel it in the gut area. That letting go piece, I've had a hard time figuring out, where do I actually feel it? Because there's a part of me that just feels, I think what I've identified is that it feels like, in my body at least, that it's in my shoulders. Because I feel that even like as we were doing the exercise last week, remember I said, oh, do you mean I got to untense my shoulders? You know, so I feel it there. I get it's the closest place that I can actually feel it, and the rest of me just kind of seems to fall in sync with it. But I'd be looking for something more like, do I feel it anywhere else? You know, so that's with that piece. But I think that how much I've been checking in with myself around how I'm holding on or letting go, I think it's been daily. It's really been daily, just kind of looking at, I don't know, man, this has really just been sticking with me.
What part's been sticking?
Just the idea of, so last week when we was doing the exercise, and I was saying, I was kind of feeling like I was dancing, or like feeling myself real loose and dancing and living in the midst of certain things, seeing fear, seeing all of these things there, but not engaging it in a way that is debilitating. You know, so just that whole movement, that's what I've been sort of kind of visualizing all week. And the weird thing is, there are moments throughout the day where I just do it. Moments throughout the day where I'm just moving around. So I'm like, oh, I hope don't nobody see me, because they're gonna think I'm nuts.
What are you doing? I've gotten to the place where it's like, hey, you can think I am. Because I told you and a lot of people before, it's like I'm learning from a tree, and I do practices with a tree, and I can remember early on I had a little bit of self-consciousness about it with people walking by and everything, and now it don't matter. It's like, hey, this is a relationship that I have that's way more important than anything that other people can see and put any kind of label or judgment on it. So I feel where you're coming from, where people might think that, but that relationship that you're having with yourself, so much more important.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And so, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, that's me. That's where I've just kind of been winning, just really pondering it. You know, really pondering it, getting it in me, finding it in me, and just flowing with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate you. I appreciate you sharing that, and I love that it is something that's sticking with you, and that you're checking in every day about. I was sharing at the very beginning of this that I want to let go of numbing, bringing my sensitivities back, and it talked about getting away from sugar, which is my primary number. It's like something that I was numbing with from way early on. And so it's one of the hardest ones to let go of. And just this last Sunday, I started a sugar fast, like an added sugar fast. It's like I'm still eating fruit and things like that, but not going for any foods that have like the added processed sugar in it. And ooh, I don't like it.
Oh.
I don't like it.
I was going to say, bless your heart.
Oh my goodness gracious. The sensitivity, there's so many things that, I mean, I guess we're waiting for me to take that blanket off so that I could see what was underneath it and feel what was underneath it. And it's, I'm quicker to reaction than I usually am, because I don't have that buffer of sugar. I'm quicker to crying. I'm quicker to pain. All of these things are like becoming more and more available to me. And it's like, oh, this is why I haven't wanted to let go of this. It reminds me so much of my early childhood, where everything was just so acutely felt. And I want to get back to that because I want so much more of me back. And ooh, it's a challenging little slog. It's only been like 4 or 5 days. And, ooh.
Yeah, I can imagine. What you just said there with this is why I wanted to get away from all of these energy relieving behaviors that we do to get away from the very spaces that will actually help us heal. To actually face the pain, to face the sensitivity. And to actually recognize that I can hold myself together even in the midst of this sensitivity, that I can be okay even though I'm feeling all of these things, I can hold myself together. And I think, because that's ultimately, I think, is the goal. I'm letting go of not holding on to me.
Right. And there's a ooh, that thought just came and went. That thing went fast too. Oh goodness gracious, it was profound. Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. Oh, here it was. It's that whole thing of yes, it might be familiar for me to like feel like I'm in my childhood again, and I've gained so many tools and resources and capacity and capability since then that I now have, that I can employ now and be with myself now with. And I didn't, and before going into it, it's not something that I known / realized until like getting into it, like, oh, I do have so much more to be able to deal with the sensitivities and the acuteness now.
Oh man, come on, somebody just say, hey man. Yeah. Anybody resonate with that? Even if you haven't mastered that, whatever, what we're talking about right here in this spot, just that recognizing, listen, you're not the 4-year-old, the 5-year-old. You now have a wisdom that you can access, and a language, hopefully, that you can access, or you're developing a language to be able to access things you couldn't have said back then. You didn't have those particular quote unquote tools to be able to kind of navigate it, and now you got it. Hey man, amen, and I'll say.
I know that's right. Yeah. All right, so we have. Hold on a second, Mel. We have a couple of hands up here.
Okay.
And I want to check in with because I see Karen's hand has a 2 on it. And anybody see a 1? Do you see his 1, Czar? No?
No.
Okay. Then we'll go to Karen, then Spirit, then Mel.
Okay. Yeah, I have a 1 on my side, but that's very tricky perception, right? Everybody else was seeing a 2 and I'm seeing a 1. Anyway, with the check-in, I feel it a lot, and this is something I was very focused on my stomach and feeling that, but I realized I will clench my jaw and be holding on to this. Usually it's like anger or something that I want to let go, even, and it will get into when I'm dreaming. And so I try. This is another one of the things where I could be standing by the tree and doing this or whatever, it doesn't matter what anybody thinks, but I try to like just open my mouth wide and just kind of move it around, my jaw, so that just like you taught us with the hands, that sense of letting it go. And it was something I had never noticed before without your question of where. So I thought that was really neat. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, especially for like making that connection between jaw clench and anger. It's one of those where it's like, especially when you're not allowed to express it, it's like a physical, literal cutting off of that of that expressive place. And so you unclenching it and letting that out is like it's a beautiful response to that. And I'm so glad that you shared that. Thank you, Karen. Spirit.
Hey guys. Okay. So for me, and I'm jumping to that last part too, like Czar did. Normally that body feeling that comes up with these intense emotions for me, the letting go, it's in my neck and shoulder area. But doing the check-ins this past week, I've noticed it in my face, in my frown, and how the eye squint, where I'm like, where people do that, where you raise your eyebrow, and some people have the wrinkles of the eyebrow. I mean, on the forehead. And I'm doing that, and then I'm like, wow, I really, is this a resting bitch face? Is that what that means? And because when I'm stable and I'm in my zone, my vibe, my peace, my face is relaxed. It's not tensed up or anything. And I never paid attention to the actions and reactions on my face, my facial expressions, and squinting my eyes, and just sitting in irritation, sitting in frustration, and what my face is doing and how people are perceiving me, and it's a wonder why you look so mad all the time. Yo, you look so, like you look like you're mean. And I'm like, wow, what I'm feeling and what I'm holding on to is expressing out in my face. And
Wow.
yeah.
Oh, wow. You know what? You saying that, I'm finna do like Denard does. I'm plagiarizing that because you saying that, I do that same thing. And I'll catch myself like, oh, your whole face is tight, bro.
Yeah, like I know some mamas, some people that have mamas that say, fix your face. Fix your face. And and so it's like, I'm like, girl, fix your face. Yeah.
Wow.
It's a beautiful thing that when we start to notice those body expressions that everybody else sees it, but we don't feel it. And that's that feeling part that goes back to what Zara was talking about too, just in not being able to feel things in our body. And that's kind of what I was going into and addressing in the masterclass I did with Denard, the 6 weeks Sense of Self series, where we start with mental, go to physical, then go to emotional, and it's a slow down and then a stretch out. The thing about our bodies is we're so contracted and tight because we are trying to stop those internal sensitivities from happening. So we're doing the clench. And when you clench, it puts all of those things together and stops all those nerve endings from being so free to express. So then when you stretch out, then you have a whole lot more space for those nerves and for that sensitivity then to move around. Then you can start feeling those things. So that being able to slow down just enough to stretch out and make space for yourself, then you can start to feel those things. So as you're checking in, oh, now I'm feeling my face when I wasn't able to before because I was so tight.
And how ridiculous is it to walk around with your face like that and somebody asks you how you are and you say, I'm fine.
Word.
And your face is telling on you.
Wow.
It's like, if you're fine, then tell your face that, because your face don't know that.
Yeah, remind your face.
It's really, and I probably have been doing that for so long and never paid attention.
Yeah.
Wow.
Whew. Mel, thank you, Spirit.
Hi. So today is my first day here, so first time.
Welcome.
Thank you. So I'm having this real life conflict or how to do things because I left a narcissistic marriage and I'm here, but then I have the legal things that's still going on. And I get confused when I'm choosing attorneys, like because of the bad experience in the past or whatever through this case. It's like first when I talk to them, I interview a few and I talk to them. I'm like, okay, I can trust this person. It has a good feeling and all that, and then immediately it goes into my head before the next meeting, and then I'm like, okay, I need to ask this, and this, and then when I go into the head, I feel like they're not being genuine or and things like that. So I don't know how to find that balance to trust my feeling or to trust my head, or it's just a whole lot of mess, and then I'm into confusion because I'm not healed from the past
Yeah.
experiences, I guess. So it's kind of, is there a way like I can feel it in my body and see, or am I overthinking and confusing myself? Or because you need to ask those logical questions, I feel you can't just go by your feeling level, which I've done in the marriage, which I've done in other things. Or in the marriage I didn't probably pay attention to the red flag feelings, even though I felt them, I crossed them. So it's kind of now any decision making with the situation I'm in, it's kind of tough.
Yeah. I want you to go back look in the chat. Have you seen the reflection questions in the chat that Mike put in there?
Little bit, yes. How much did you
Okay.
check in with yourself around how you hold on to what you want to let
Yeah.
go?
Yeah. And I don't want you to answer it yet. I want you to just answer it yet. I want you to kind of look at those three and I want you to sit with that for a minute while we still talk, while the rest of us kind of talk. And I want you to just kind of see if any of this comes up for you, if any of this resonates with you, and then hopefully we'll come back to you before we get out of here.
Yeah.
Because I want you to, yeah, go ahead, Mike.
I also want to I'll leave you with, as you go into those questions and everything, I'll leave you with this. The answer to your question about like, is there a way to feel into the body and everything? Yes, there is. And there's not a fix. There's not a fix, a trick, a hack, or anything like that. When we have gotten to a place where we overthink and overtake our body sensations and don't have that balance, striking a balance is about a practice. It's a process and a practice that you have to continuously go through, sorting through, okay, what is my mind doing? What is my body doing? What are my emotions doing? And trying to do that juggling act to figure out how that works for you. So like, what I know that you're asking something that's like, how can I do this very hard thing that I'm being presented with right now? How can I figure out how to check in with my body about that? That's going to be a difficult answer to give, because it's about this process of where you're at right now. You most likely won't be able to find that. It'll take some time for you to be with yourself to figure out what is overthinking, what is oversensing, and things like that. So that's what I have for that.
So basically check-in is like in the middle of activity or during the day, I just stop and observe my body and observe the mind and the emotional
Right. Yeah, because it's about being able to practice in a place, in a safe and clear container, so that you can notice all the things that are happening, and you don't have, and it's not attributed to any outside stimulus. It's just about you and you. And then when you've done that enough, and then you get into those high pressure, fast situations, then you have that available for you because you practice it. When things get really fast and pressurized, we revert to what we've practiced most. And most of us have practiced dissociation and separation.
Interestingly, even now when I observe the body, it starts to melt. The tightness starts to melt.
Yeah, thank you for that question, Mel. And I hope that you're able to kind of sit more with that, and sit more with that, sit more with yourself, and sit more with questions.
Mhm.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Yeah.
Melissa, and then Janice, and then we'll get into our little practice.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. So, well, for me, like in my body, it's it's usually always like in my shoulders, and that's where I notice it the most. It's something that I've just dealt with like chronically, I think, and when I pay attention to it, I really can feel it there. Um, and I really checked in with myself daily. I've really done a lot of dissecting of just the process um, of just diving deep and doing lots of shares that were um, really vulnerable. And I really try to practice um, vulnerability because it really helps me be my authentic self. But what I noticed is I'm really trying not to judge my vulnerability
Mm.
because I feel like so many times even when you practice it, like, and it's so hard, um, even when you're used, like, at first when you're practicing vulnerability, it feels like you're having an outer body experience. Like, did I just say that out loud? But then after, the more you practice it, the more familiar it becomes to you, and it feels so like it just feels like you're really coming into who you really are and the essence of who you are, and like you can really be yourself. And even though I try to practice that, we all have like those little voices in our head, like after you share something so personal and so vulnerable, and you're just, you know, sometimes you like think like, should I have said all of that? But I'm really trying to just be okay with that because I really want to process my trauma and let it go and work through it. So that's what's come up for me.
Yeah, I recognize that so hard, just in myself and in so many of y'all that shared, and so many people that I've seen, be vulnerable with themselves and expressing themselves, especially in groups of people. And it's it's one of those testaments too, when we were really early on being vulnerable as little ones, that vulnerability had consequence to it. When we got older, when we got into those teen and preteen years, and it was really risky to be vulnerable, because then there would be peer consequence that would come to us, and those things stung. And so
Yeah.
then when you get to this place and you're being vulnerable now, you feel that whole, oh wait, where's the consequence going to come from? It's going to come from
Right.
somewhere, because it always comes. But
Mm-hmm.
then when we're
Oh,
in like spaces like this and it doesn't come, now we can hear our own, like, where's the consequence coming from? And that's what I mean about the whole practice of, oh, now I'm in a container where I'm not getting consequence, but I'm still braced for it. Now I
Right.
can feel that, I can feel into that, and then I can
Mm-hmm.
start to shift it a little bit more. And that's what you're speaking to.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Melissa. Ooh, Janice.
Okay, so I have so many questions. Not really. I am I the weird one where like
yes.
throughout, yes,
Oh,
I
my
know.
bad.
I know. All hail the
Yes.
queen, raise your hand. All throughout my journey and into now and into like even today, I don't check in like just once a day. That crap's going on in my head all day about how to check myself or how to let go of something, or something will happen and I'm like, yeah, maybe you should just let go of that. Or I'll think of something and I'm like, you know what, that's something you really need to like this goes on constantly in my head. And so I'm wondering if I'm the strange one, where am I the only one that happens to? Because I'm hearing people talk about, well, this or well, that. And I'm like, damn, I have it all damn day long. So I don't know. And it's not in a bad way. It's just, certain things I want to either accept about myself, change about myself, or change in my situation. And I'm like, oh yeah, well, maybe I should do that, or maybe I should do that. Or you know what, I need to let this go. And I need to let that go, or I need to deal with this. Um, and
Here's
when
what I
I
got you. Here's what I got for you on that.
go ahead.
The key words that you used were in your head. That is a way to check in, and what we are like trying to move us all into is more of an ecosystemic check-in. So not just mentally, but physically, like actually having your body as a part of the conversation. Because a lot of the ways that we've been taught in the, of course, American society, but in many societies around the world, is that the mind is all, and that our thinking, that we can think ourselves into healing, we can think ourselves into changing, we can think ourselves into all this. And yes, mental affects and influences so much, yet physical, emotional, spiritual, all the other things that we haven't even discovered about ourselves have so much more to do with our whole well-being, that if we are just staying in that whole checking in with yourself mentally, then you're only getting like one piece of as an iceberg, like the tip of the huge ass iceberg that's underneath.
No, I get that, but that's just what goes on in my head, Mike. That's just what goes on in my head during the course of the day, and it's like, all right, you know what, I got to do blah 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 blah. What goes on in my body and in my, when something really gets down deep, and I know I've got to mind, body, and soul deal with this, then that's a different story. But I just wanted to know, does anybody else mentally hear this and then in their head, and then yes, because that's the mental way. But then there are certain things that, yeah, I got to do that mind, body, and soul, and I do. So there's kind of like two different ways, and I'm feeling like a strange person here because I feel like, am I the only one who does that?
You are
And
very
it's
not the only one that does that.
okay,
You're
good.
very, very not the only one that does that.
Yeah, because I'm like that. Yeah,
Okay,
I'm
good.
like that.
As long as I'm not the only one, then I'm good. Because like I said, I do feel it in my body. I do feel it.
And so this is the part too. It's not just feeling it in the body, because you're not the only one that feels it in the body either. This is the whole part is about a conversation, and even it's deeper than conversation, but that's the word that a lot of us have access to. But when's the last time that you allowed your body to lead the conversation and have your mind sit the hell down or follow along? When's the last time that you were able to have a round table where your emotions got to have an equal say with your mind and your body? Because a lot of times our minds dominate the conversation. So it's not about just feeling it. This is about a partnership. This is a collaboration that you're having inside of yourself. But what you're talking about, and I've heard it a lot from a lot of folks, is the mind is this leader that gets to sit down and tell everybody else how things go. And maybe they might get some feedback from the others, but the mind makes the ultimate decision. But this is different than that. I'm talking about a complete collaboration.
yes, and there are certain
Sorry, got
things.
cut off.
Oh, there are certain things I can do that with, but there are two things inside of me that I don't allow that to happen.
You still okay?
Yep. And I know what they are, and I don't allow that. I have allowed that to happen in many other areas, but there are two things within me I will not allow that to happen, and I can't figure out why.
Well,
I
you
won't
gonna know
allow
why
it to
about
happen.
you gonna know why about next Friday. No,
Oh, dang.
hey, listen, I'm being prophetic.
Okay, then.
All right, thanks, man.
Thank you.
All right, let us get into our practice for the week. Let me put in what the week is. This is week 3. Last week was reflect and ingest. This week is digest and divest. Throw that over there. And this is really about the roots. And I'll put that over there after I post this. So we three digest and divest, where winter time, we reflexively exhaust our resources. Winter time being like the calendar time. We're talking about the end of the year. We're talking about our holidays with November and December, and then the new year, the new calendars flip over in January and February. And it's all of this exhausting of resources in the time that we should be intentionally reserving resources. Winter season is about intentionally reserving them because we don't know when the next resource is going to be available to us.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is what we're up to as we move into our practice layers. We'll go ahead and put that over there as well. Mm. Okay. So our practice layers, that Google Doc, there is that picture that I've been showing y'all over the course. We have our blooms, which is that blue circle, which is our mental hold. We went through and just kind of were thinking about what is it that we want to let go of? What are the details of it?
Mm-hmm.
Then we went into the stems, our physical hold. How do we look toward, reach toward, or move toward holding on what we want to let go, that how. And now we're getting into the emotional hold. The emotional hold being in that root system, our back, chest, belly, where all of this activity is, all that sensitivity is. I heard a lot about clenching in, jaw, shoulders, neck, all those things that are like, okay, so mind is right up here. And so to kind of keep mind separate from everything else, let's get that clench on so we don't have to feel everything else that's going on underneath.
Good.
So with the back, what feeling pushes you to hold on to what you want to let go? Chest, what feeling pulls you to hold on to what you want to let go? And then belly, what feeling feeds your holding on to what you want to let go? And this one is more of a trajectory. All of it is. I mean, going from bloom to stems to roots is a way for us to start where most of us are. Most of us are very mental, very intellectualizing. Mm-hmm. And so it's about getting ourselves into it in that slow, stretched feeling place and being able to take us in. And the same way with this, with the back, it's much more comfortable to have people at our backs, to have people behind us than to have people right in front confronting us. Mm-hmm. And so starting with that back, what feeling is pushing you toward that holding on? And then that chest, our hearts pull, we get drawn to things with our chest. And so that chest being what pulls you. And then the belly, of course, if we're digesting something, if we're eating and we're ingesting and then digesting, we use that as resource and fuel to hold on. I can only hold on for, even with like my hand, I can only hold on if I have energy to. So what's the feeling that feeds that holding on? And that's where we get into that resource, because that resource, like what I was showing you at the very beginning, that winter time, reflexively exhausting resources, us holding on to things is a reflex. Because if we had the choice the same way that most of us do with our hands, we can open and close those hands. So how come we can't open and close that clench that we have to what we're holding on to? If we say that we want to let go of it, we're feeding it resource. There's a feeling that's not allowing that to happen, that's being diverted in that direction. So if we divest that resource, the same way that I'm divesting from sugar is the thing that feeds my numbness. So I've divested. I'm like, okay, let me go ahead and just cut that off. But what's the feeling? And that's what we're going to explore with this emotional practice. Any thoughts you have, Zar?
No, No, I mean, well, I got a ton of thoughts. I got a ton of well, not even really a ton of thoughts, because what's coming up for me right now is almost like, yeah, this one I want to is probably my, not my, I don't even want to call it a struggle. This one I'm not versed on.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All
I'm
right.
seeing it though. I'm starting to. I think I'm seeing some things in it. So yeah.
Cool.
So
All
I'm
right.
really following your lead.
So with this one, I'll I'll just say a quick little thing before we get right into it, because we only have like the 10 minutes, and I'm just gonna let y'all know that for those of y'all that have to leave, this will be on Spotify. We might go a little bit over, and so I just want to let y'all know that on the front end. And so with this one, we're gonna do kind of like what we did last week, just in a shorter way. And there's a whole lot more about this. A lot of folks in yoga know about the cat cow, and it's what's with cat, it's arching your back, and then cow, it's arching your front, and it's like this. I don't even know any other way to describe that. But if you start if you just start there before we even get into your breath and everything, if you arch your back, pushing your back out, you can feel into your back. And then if you arch forward, you push your chest and your heart out, and I start to feel that vulnerability that's there. Like, ooh, my guts are all like able to be, they're exposed. Thank you for that word. And so go alternating between that back, feeling your back and the sensations there, and then front and feeling the sensations there. So that's one way to kind of access that torso area, just in terms of like the feelings that are happening there. Another way that you can approach this is touch and feel. Touch and feel, I hold as two different things. Touch, if you put your hand on your arm, the touch is what your hand is feeling as it's touching the surface. So it's like, oh, this is me touching. The feel is what your arm is feeling when it is being touched.
Mm-hmm.
And if you, this one's a little bit trickier. If you touch with your fingertips, you can also feel your arm in your fingertips. The wording is difficult on that one for me to I haven't quite yet put words to it, but touch feel is another way for us to access those torso feelings, because then we can start with touching our chest, touching how much we can of our back, touching our belly, and then feeling with our back, our hand on our back, feeling our chest with our hand on our chest, feeling our belly with our hand on our belly. And so when you start to feel those parts of your body, your back, chest, and belly, you can start to feel deeper into it. The deeper that you go, the deeper you get into the feelings, into those emotions, the sensations that are in your organs, your visceral center. So touch and feel, or arch your back and forward. Those are a couple of ways to access that. So with all of that precursor, find your breath. Get your body into a position that feels comfortable for you, that you can stay there for the next 5 minutes. And just find your breath. And Zar, if you just mute yourself, I think that echo might go away.
Echo?
Yeah, there's been an echo. I
Ain't
saw what you did
nobody
there.
said nothing. Ain't nobody
No, I
said
saw what you
nothing.
did there. I saw what you did there. But everybody was finding
Did it
their
go
breath.
away?
Everybody, yes, it did. All right. So find your breath. And that finding is just about getting all the details. The depth, the speed, the temperature, how it moves your body, where it lands in your body. Now I say with the breath as a good anchor, because you can't breathe in the past or the future. It's right here. With us going into the roots, we're going to even see if you have the capacity to, see if you can switch your anchor from your breath to your heartbeat. If you're somebody that can feel their heartbeat within their torso without doing anything but just being still, do that. Find that. Find that heartbeat. And if you can't, but you still want to use heartbeat as an anchor, go ahead and put your hand on your chest. If you can't feel it through your chest, go ahead and put a couple of fingers on your neck and feel it there. If you want to use your heartbeat as an anchor, because your heart does not beat in the past or future either. I start with breath as a good anchor for mental and physical, because there's some movement and there's still a whole lot of mental movement, a whole lot of physical movement. But when we get into our emotions, we don't want to move too fast. And our heartbeat gives us a good cadence, a good rhythm for the speed necessary, for the sensitivity that's happening inside. Just find that heartbeat. Now with that heartbeat, initiate your body movement, that arching of the back, forward and backward, and doing it slow with that rhythm, making sure that you can stay anchored. If you're moving and you lose that rhythm of your heartbeat, you might be moving too fast. Or you just need to change how you're finding it. Maybe you can't just feel it through your torso and still move. So you just put your hand there and then you can move. Or you put your fingers on your neck and then you can move. And for now, as you're doing that, I just want you to notice the feelings. I'm not going to ask all the questions that were over in the chat. I just might ask one or two when it comes to this. But just notice any feelings. You want to let go of something or someone. Bring that into your awareness. Stay anchored with that heartbeat. And what are the feelings that are showing up? No need to categorize or label, because feelings can be a couple of things. They can be emotions or sensations. You might feel some static. You might feel some sharpness. You might feel some bubbles. You might feel anger. You might feel sad. But just what are the feelings as you're arching your back forward and backwards? As you're touching and feeling? What are those feelings that surround what or who you want to let go? You don't want to hold on to any of those responses or anything that shows up. Allow them to be there. Staying in that torso. Everybody, deep breath in. Deep breath out. What is the primary feeling around who or what you want to let go? There's many feelings associated with it, but there's a core, a main one. Which one is that? Stay with that heartbeat. The heartbeat is right there in the center of all of that activity. Chest, back, belly. What's the primary feeling around who or what you want to let go? Now, if you were doing one of those feelings, the arching the back or the touch feel, try using the other one. Staying with that heartbeat. If you've been arching your back forward and backwards, go to a touch and feel. If you've been doing touch and feel, your torso, back, chest, belly, go to arching your back forward and backward. Find that heartbeat. Same question. What is the primary feeling around who or what you want to let go? Deep breath into that. Pause at the top. Deep breath out. Pause at the bottom. Back to your normal breath. Stay with that heart. Stay with that heartbeat. Now, in your own time, you're going to go ahead and find your way out of that center. Go from anchoring in the heartbeat to anchoring in your breath. Move your body just a little bit and stretch out that torso while you're anchored with your breath. Move that movement out into your arms and your legs and your neck while staying anchored in that breath. And then move that movement to your feet, hands, and head, staying anchored in that breath. And then when you're done, deep breath in and then a deep breath out. Now again, that was just a little teaser, a little taster of what you can be doing during the course of your week to check in with that torso. Anchoring in the heartbeat is going to be important in this one, because that heartbeat is right there in all of those sensations going on and those emotions going on in there. And so it's really important that you be slow. My little mantra is slow down, stretch out, feel through. We slow down our minds, stretch out our bodies, feel through our emotions. And it goes right into that picture. We slow down that blue part. We stretch out that red part. We feel through that purple part. Zara, if you're back out, did you have anything that happened for you there?
Sadness.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to share about that? Or I mean, if that's all, that's cool.
That's it, because my eyes are sweating.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel you. How about you, Spirit?
Yeah, Mike, I'm not gonna lie, that was tough, and I had to stop. Um, um, and then you said that's just a little teaser. I'm scared.
Yeah, that's why a lot of us don't do this work for real.
You know, what came up for me was a feeling that I've not tapped in this whole last 3 years, 2 years dealing with the divorce and everything, and then doing the healing work. You know, I say abandoned, betrayed, deceived, abused, but this just now brought up disappointment. I'm disappointed, and that cut. I didn't. Wow, you don't think just to be disappointed, and you've been betrayed, and but it's a disappointment. Like, wow, I'm disappointed in you. You took these vows and said these things to me, and you didn't live up to it. I'm disappointed, and that just rang in me. And when you talked about the touch and the feel, it when you said if you touch your arm, you know, your hand, how your hand and then what the arm feels. But it for me, it brought up, okay, what the hand and what the arm, but what I feel when that happens, what happens in me when the hand and the arm touch, what it's doing in inside of me, what that feels like for me. Like in that whole collaboration thing that you're talking about, it's the hand, the arm, and me, all of us feeling. And woo, okay, all right, y'all trying to do like these Oprah interviews, get everybody to see how many people we can make cry.
Anybody else's eyes sweating? Anybody else's eyes?
Yeah. Snotty nose cry.
It's humid. It must be humid out. That Texas weather, that Florida weather.
It's my allergies. It's just my allergies.
But yeah, I appreciate you bringing that up, Spirit, about what the feeling, the emotions that come up when you touch and feel. Because just even putting a hand on your belly can just get you going because of what's happened in there, and if any violations have happened with someone who has touched your belly, then that brings up things too. So there's so much complexity woven into ourselves, into our roots. This is the root system. The roots affect everything. If you mess with the soil, if you fuck with the roots, you can definitely play with the plant and fuck with the plant. So that's us. That's us.
My goodness.
And you know, I felt bad about stopping. I was like, I'm not challenging myself. I'm not challenging myself. It's getting too tough, and it's hitting a spot that I can't. I feel like I was gonna be uncontrollably crying, and I got scared of that, and I stopped, and I judged myself for it. Like I should have just kept going, but I went as far as I could go. I felt.
I hear you, and that last part that you said, that's where we at. That's where we're at. I used to be a challenge course facilitator. I did ropes courses, so high ropes courses and low ropes courses. And whenever I took folks to the high ropes course, I was like, it's not about getting up there. It's about going to where your edge is, maybe taking one extra step, and then coming on down because you took that step. So you stopping when you needed to, it's like, okay, this is as far as I can go. Because if you throw yourself out into the deep end, you won't come back because you will terrify yourself. This work is not about that. This work is about slow cultivation. We're plants. Go ahead, Zor.
That was freeing. That's freeing, right? I felt like you just freed a whole bunch of folks in here right there with that statement. That, yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole new relationship with us. And, just like I was said with the ropes courses, it's like the thing about teaching people how to, teaching people scared of the water, how to swim again. It's, we have to have a whole new relationship with that element. And it's the same thing with us. We've been fucked with, abused, contorted, distracted, deceived, violated, aggressed upon, and all kinds of things. And so we need a whole new relationship with ourselves because we learned how to do that to ourselves from these people.
Yeah.
And so we need a whole new relationship, and that takes time, and it takes those little bitty shifts and those little bitty steps. Go ahead, Zach.
And as you was, saying that earlier, even when Janice was speaking earlier, and I would love for us to kind of take this away, what all of this that we're doing, and what you just to piggyback off of what you just said, Mike, in that relationship with ourselves, it's like you're becoming in all of this. You all don't lose heart. And recognize those little bitty steps that you're taking. And we're calling them little bitty, but they're really big. Those steps that you're taking, that was one step further than what you did yesterday. It's about living in that energy, living in that space. And so what you're doing is you're becoming intimate with you. All of you, like you're becoming intimate with you. All of this is you becoming intimate, reconciling with you, and becoming one more and more with yourself so that you can live in that conciliation, that oneness that we're really designed to be able to live in. The mistake, all of this is a part of you becoming more intimate with you. The stops, oh no, I'm not going any further. This is all you becoming more intimate with you.
Right. Because when did we get to do that? When did we get to stop when we were kids? We told our parents that we needed to stop, and they were like, "No, you can keep going."
Yeah. Yeah.
Or you going to keep going. And we don't want that with ourselves.
Woo-wee. Man. Oh, it's so humid. Oh.
I'm just at this point, I'm like really, really grateful to you for being able to put words to what it is that you're experiencing, but just the opportunity to be able to bring these practices that I've discovered and found out and felt through in my whole journey with y'all, and that y'all are willing to explore yourselves in this container with us.
Yeah. Man, this is wonderful, man. Listen, you're gonna mess around and be done got better messing around with you folks around here. And man, I love it. I really love it. I don't know what to say. I don't even have a close, y'all.
Just bye.
I hope you all got something out of it, and if you didn't, blame it on spirit.
Thank you, Donald. There we go. That's how I end them sessions. That's how I end them sessions. But this one was a heavy one, Donald. So we got to blame it on a couple people. So Spirit and who's that? Bonham and Janabelle. We blaming it on you and Rochelle. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, don't forget Janice. Don't forget Janice.
Oh, she's always to blame.
Yeah, that's good.
She's always to blame. Listen, y'all. Oh.
We done went overtime.
We did, and it's all right. It's all right. It was definitely necessary.
Well, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna call all us out on this one because this was about the roots and this was about emotions. It took all that time just for us to be able to get to this.
True.
Because like Spirit put words to, we scared, like for real. It's a lot going on in there.
True.
Come on.
Facts. He just spoke into the mic. Y'all know how I say speaking to the mic, friend. He just spoke into the mic on that one. Mm-hmm. All right, y'all. How many of y'all coming back next week? Don't get scared. Don't be scared. My goodness. Thank y'all. Y'all know the routine. Yep. Thank you. Y'all already did it. I see the hearts. See the whatever. Mike, thank you so much, bro. And We ready for get us ready for next week. Y'all check out Mike always puts a little reminder in his chat as well as in the Wellbeing Cafe with Czar throughout the week. So make sure y'all check those out and stick with these things. And what else I'm supposed to say? Oh, if you leave a review, if once you get up out of here, and if you got time to, please do that. Let us know how this is going for you. And as spirits say, bye. See y'all. Bye. Go on now. Get on out of here. All right, y'all. We'll holler at y'all later. Listen, peace be unto all y'all.
Thank you. Thanks,
Thank
Czar. Thanks,
you.
Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much.
Mike. Thank you, Czar.
Yep. Peace.
Guys. Yeah, I'm the only one in here.